Should be fine, no problem.
You are able to view my screen, right?
It's just coming up.
Okay, fine, no problem. So yesterday flat files, the file set stage, you don't have any doubt, right?
No, that's clear actually.
So today we are going to discuss about lookup files, and before that, yesterday's topic's continuation. Like before I'm going to teach about this lookup file set, there is a concept of lookup as well. Why? Because this lookup file set can be used in conjunction only with your lookup stage. So when we speak something about lookup, I generally feel like speaking something about join and merge. Okay, it will also help us a lot. Now coming to this discussion, there is three operators for performing lookup. Lookup in the sense, see, employee table and department table. Yesterday's discussion only. Once again, just a recap.
Okay.
So when you are getting an employee table and department table, you are going to get department name, that is your end requirement. You are having department number from your employee table. So E number, E name, and department number. Okay, you are getting this as input, and this is your lookup. Okay, yesterday I think during this discussion only we'll ask you this confusing. In the department table, we are having D number and D name. Okay. So what happens? Now my end requirement is such a way that I want to get E number, E name, and department name. So from where I can get the department name? From the department table, based on what department number. So the lookup key here is department number. Now yesterday what I am telling you, based on environment, okay, there are certain limitations from each and every operator. Okay, in my project, for each and every operator, they have assigned 50 MB as the size. Beyond that size, that operator will fail. Especially lookup, where what it does, it is going to bring whatever is coming inside the department table, it is going to bring it into the local memory. Here local memory means wherever the data set is being installed, that particular RAM that has been given to that particular system, that overall server, okay, acts like the local memory for this particular lookup. And by default, the lookup is having 50 MB as the memory. So what happens in my environment, if you are going to get in the reference link up to 4 lakh records, it would work fine. But after 4 lakh records, my lookup operator would fail. So I know the limitation of my environment. So similarly, what I request is, whenever you get a mapping specification document, as a first step, right, you first identify what are all the source tables and the reference tables. Okay. In the reference tables, identify what are the counts that are going to come. And in your mapping specification document, if it has been mentioned like use a lookup operation on a particular key, identify what is the corresponding reference table and identify the count. Okay, if the count is exceeding what your environment supports, don't go with the lookup. Why? Because even though you proceed, okay, you feel like you have completely developed the job, okay, and you are at the end of the deadline, and when you hit the run button, it would fail. Then again you need to redesign your job with replacing it with joins and all. The immediate suggestion that your colleagues would give you is replace this one with joiner. But it is very simple for them to say, but it would be very difficult for you to once again redesign and retest it. Okay, so in the initial stage itself, identify the reference data, identify the count, and then decide upon what operator you need to use in that particular lookup operation. When somebody says that use lookup operator in the text specification, don't directly use the lookup. Just use this particular technique to identify which one would be better in your environment, and final design should be used in such a way. Next, if 4 lakh records are going to come, right, there also there are two scenarios. In lookup, there are two ways that you can operate the lookup. Normal lookup, and then you are going to see the sparse lookup. Inside normal lookup, again you are having range lookup as well. Normal lookup and range lookup. Inside normal, you are having direct lookup and range lookup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, normal lookup you are having this limitation. Like you, normal lookup you are having this limitation like for like records if it is going to come, it is going to fail. Why? Because it is going to bring all the reference links data into your local memory. So that is why your normal lookup would fail. But coming to the sparse lookup works in such a way that it will not bring this department table into the local memory. Instead, what it does, right? Let us say employee number you are going to get it as department number from the source you are going to get it as 2. Okay. How it is going to write to the query? Okay, select. I think it's better to write. Select dname from DAPT where dnum is equal to 2. How this 2 is being mentioned? I told you like from the source you are going to get this particular value of 2. Right? From the source I told you like this d number you are going to get it as 2. That is how it was able to identify d name from your department table. So once this query is formed based on the value that is coming from the source, this query will be filed directly on your reference database. Data will not be moved into local memory. Instead, we will form a query out of the lookup condition. What is the lookup condition that we used to d number? And what is the value that we have used, the value coming from the source? Okay, so based on these two, lookup condition and the value for that lookup condition coming from the source, we were able to form a particular source query. Sorry, we were able to form a SQL query. Use this SQL query and directly file it on your reference database. Instead of bringing the data, we will hit this particular SQL on the reference database. So I will be getting corresponding department number. Okay. Similarly, for the next corresponding value coming in the source, again it will form one more query. Okay. Once again, it will form one more query, and this time let us say the source data that is coming as 3, the number as 3. Okay. This is how it operates. Now, can you identify what is the problem with this one?
It queries the same table multiple times.
Exactly. So, for each and every record coming from the source data, it is going to form an SQL and it is going to hit the reference database. But reference database will always work fine as you are giving this where class with exact spot check. Like you are giving d number is equal to 2, so it will work really faster. But the only problem here is if you consider the environmental issues and the database issues, your sparse lookup will work only by your sparse lookup works very much fine only for limited data. Okay, limited data in the sense not from the reference link but from the source link. Why? Because anyway we are not going to bring anything from the reference link. So we are not worried about the size in the reference link. We are worried about the size in the source link. Why? Because whatever data is coming from the source, for each and every record we are forming a query. So when we go with the sparse lookup is, I told you right, if there are 4 lakh records in your reference link, if there are just 400 or 4000 records in your, if there are just 4000 records in your source, then only you go with sparse. You are able to follow me? When you need to go with sparse. Yeah. Use sparse lookup when you are getting very limited data in source and there is very huge data in your reference. That is the baseline statement that I am making.
Okay.
In normal lookup, identify the count in the reference link and see whether that count acts like a threshold for your environment and decide upon whether to go with lookup or join. Now the second thing what I am saying is, once you identify that, okay, you can go with the join. Okay, once you identify that your ordinary lookup will not work fine, then you need to take decision whether to use join or sparse lookup. Okay, as a first step, you identify whether to use lookup or joiner based on the reference data that you are getting, and you have identified the threshold limit of your environment. How can you identify the threshold limit of your environment? Just use a row generator. Okay, use that particular lookup. Okay, in that only just row generator, one lookup, one data set. That's it. You just give 4 lakh or 5 lakh or 10 lakh records, and just you identify whether it will work fine or not. Okay, you are able to follow me, right? How to identify the threshold of a particular operator in your environment. These should be exercised once you are given access to your application, so that in the beginning stages itself you will understand how far your environment will help you in working with huge amounts of data. Okay, just identify the thresholds and then identify the counts coming from the reference link. Once you identify that, the count that is coming from the reference link is very huge in such a way that you cannot proceed with the lookup operator. Then what you do, you drop that particular lookup idea and use either join, then go with join. Then in that case, again you need to take one more question. Can I go with join or sparse lookup? Sparse lookup anyway is not going to bring data into my local memory, so it won't fail. But the constraint here is for every incoming source record, it is going to form a select query, okay, and it keeps the reference database. In this case, it would be better if the source data is very much minimal compared to your reference data's huge data. In that case, you can skip the joiner or you can use sparse lookup. But remember, source data to reference data ratio should be more than 100. Like 1:100 should be the ratio of your source to your reference. In some books they would say like 1:10, but it won't work. If there are 4 lakh records, if there are 40,000 records coming from the source and if there are 4 lakh records coming from the reference, joiner would work fine compared to your sparse lookup.
Can you, one second Ram, I'm not able to follow that from the threshold. It's like a bit confusing.
Yeah, 1 second. Now what I told you, once you enter into your company, right? Okay, once you are given this access to your Citrix, right, in your company, what you do, just design a simple job. See, use one row generator. Okay, give it to lookup. In the reference, right? You first create one more what we say sequential file or some lookup file set using the same row generator. In this row generator, give the count as some 6 lakh. Okay. And just to prepare a lookup file set or some sequential file with some 6 columns. In these 6 columns, make sure that one of the columns you are going to use as lookup. So use cyclic mode for that one. Data would be generated right properly. Now from the source, right, you use the same 6 columns, and in that particular final column which you are using for lookup, right, lookup key. Okay, use the cyclic one so that the last column would match the last column created in this one and this one. Fine? You're able to follow me up to this extent? No?
Still slightly.
Once again, first step, what you do, use row generator. Okay. Target as some data set or some sequential file.
Okay.
It's better to use sequential file. In this case, what you do, create a record count of 6 lakh records inside your row generator. In the row generator, you can mention how many records you need to generate, right? Give the row count as 6 lakh records.
Okay.
And create a sequential file. Okay. In this sequential file, what you should ensure is whatever columns you generate, it's not a big issue, but one of the column you have to use it as a lookup key, right?
Yeah.
So on that particular column, use the cyclic mode.
Okay.
Cyclic mode to generate the value, so that you should get something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something like that cyclic mode will be generated. This is your reference link mode. This is your reference link. Use that particular newly created sequential file as reference here. So 6 lakh records are coming from your reference. Okay. Now from the source, right, again you create some for 1 lakh or 2 lakh records from the source. Source is your row generator. Okay. You are able to follow me? Now use the lookup here. For lookup, reference should be whatever you have created here in the first step. Okay. Here for this lookup, row generator acts as your source. Here you generate 1 lakh records and make sure that whatever key you are using for the lookup operation, let us say department number. Here also the 6th column, let us say department number, and you have created the cyclic values. Here also let us say from the source you are getting department number, and ensure that it is also going to create cyclic values only, so that the both should match, right? Okay. Now in the output you just drag those 6 columns. Let's see how it works with 6 lakh records. You are able to follow me? If it fails for 6 lakh records, then the threshold value of your environment for lookup is 6 lakh.
Okay.
And one more thing, remember columns also, if you increase, size will be used more. Maybe increase columns, data will be increased, right?
Yeah.
So based on that, you need to take some decision. When you get expect, right, then you can see how many columns you are going to use. Okay, based on that, you just create some dummy columns. Anyway, you are not going to generate the sample data, right? So row generator would be generating, right? So just define some dummy columns, dummy1, dummy2, okay, and just check the threshold value of lookup so that up to how much, I mean to say that up to how extent it can sustain. Complete design, tomorrow some data increases, if my lookup operator fails, then there's no purpose of designing and spending that much effort, right? So that is what I meant to say. You're able to follow
Yeah.
me?
Yes,
Okay, in this case, use
that's
joiner.
great.
But before using the joiner, what you do, you again take one more decision. Okay, now you decided like you have to go with joiner, but before that, just stop for a moment and think, what is the count that I'm getting from the source? Now let us say here you are getting 6 lakh records from the reference and you are getting just 5,000 to 4,000 records from the reference. No need to use joiner. Go with sparse lookup. Why? Because sparse lookup anyhow won't bring the 6 lakhs into local memory. For this 4,000 SQLs would be found that you, and these SQLs would keep your reference database and it gets the corresponding department number. Fine?
Okay.
Department name. So these decisions has to be taken by you by looking into the count. Now, if you are getting only 4,000 and in your reference you are getting 6 lakh, it's better to go with reference compared to joiner. But if you are going to get 40,000, right, don't go with your sparse, go with joiner.
Okay.
Okay, you are able to understand what I am saying, right?
Yes,
When
sir.
reference has to be used, when sparse has to be used, when lookup has to be used, and all you are able to understand, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is about your sparse lookup and joiner. Now there is one more kind of lookup, that is your range lookup. Range lookup, how it is going to work? See, let us say there is a student, okay, and the columns that are coming in this particular student table is student number, student name, and then marks. And then there is one more table called grade. Okay, highest marks, lowest marks to lowest marks, highest marks, and the grade. These are the three columns that are there. Okay, let us say serial number 1, name is R, marks are 90, 2, yes, 60, 3, V, 20. Okay, here how it will be mentioned? 0 to 45, class is D. 45 to 75, class is G. C. And 75 to 90 it would be B. And then 90 to 100 it would be A. Let us say this is the grades that were there in your grade table. Now my requirement is at the end I want to get serial number, S name, and grade. Okay, so how I can get the grade? I need to write a condition in such a way that this mark should lie between lower mark and higher mark. Okay, so my condition would be 90 should be greater than lower marks
and less than higher mark.
This is your range lookup. This can be written in your lookup. Okay, I will show you how we can use, how you can create this particular range lookup. And one more betterment that they have done to lookup is, this can be done in vice versa also. Now let us say you are going to get, from the source you are going to get 2 columns. Okay, and in the grade you are having just only 1 column.
Okay.
Okay, in that case you can write the vice versa also. Like your target, your reference data can be between 2 columns of your source. That scenario is rare, but you can actually do it. It allows you both the ways. Like you can actually check for 1 column from the source lying between 2 columns in the reference link, or 1 column in the reference link lying between 2 columns in your source. Both the ways you can do the range lookup.
Okay.
Once you are able to do this range lookup, your output would be something like 1 R D. Okay. 2 S C, and 3 V D. This is how you will get the output based on this range lookup. You can club range lookup with your normal lookup as well. Like you can place both the conditions. Like let us say there is serial number also. Here I don't have any column, right? Let us say, just don't think logically from the data. Just let us say there is one more column called department number, and here also department number. It doesn't match anyway. But what I want to say is, if you are going to implement lookup, you can also implement direct lookup plus range lookup. These two conditions can be clubbed together. Department number is equal to department number, and marks can lie between lower marks and high marks. These two conditions can be placed in a single lookup operation as well. You are able to follow me?
Yeah.
Confusion?
No, this is clear.
Fine, fine. So that is what your range lookup. Now, why? Just give me 1 minute. Somebody is calling me. Tell me, Kumar. Good morning, and
Eta,
Sorry, Nita. Actually, Baswa called me regarding some installation issue for my previous person. Uh,
Okay.
okay. You are able to understand this parse lookup, range lookup, and range lookup in both the directions, right?
Yeah.
Clear. So now, what is the purpose of having the lookup? What is a lookup file set? What is the difference between file set and lookup file set? See here, like file set, your lookup file set also is going to create multiple files. Let us say in this design, like row generator to your
Hello.
hello, Nita.
Yes, Ram.
What is actually happening? I was not able to see you. You are able to see me in this
Yeah.
go to.
Suddenly, I was not able to hear you. I
Oh,
thought
there is a
you had
problem with
muted.
this link. No, 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 no. I think there is a problem with this. What we say, this link. I will ask him to create one more new link. Actually, yesterday my system got restarted also because of the same issue. I think why? Because when I tried the link afterwards with some other person in his machine, even then it got rebooted.
Oh.
So I need to ask him to create one more link. So the design row generator to, let us say, file set, not the lookup file set. Let us say you are going to create a file set only with 6 lakh records coming from your row generator. Fine. In this
Yep.
case, it might create some 6 files. Okay, 6 files plus one descriptor file, right? In lookup file set. Now what I'm going to, what is the difference? Now my intention is to tell you what is the difference between file set and lookup file set. Now if you use the same design with row generator to lookup file set, let us say. Okay, in this case also 6 files would be generated plus one descriptor file would be generated. The only difference between file set and lookup file set is this lookup file set has been modified in such a way that it gives you very good performance when you use in conjunction with lookup. How is it possible? In the sense, in lookup you are very clear like what are the keys you are going to use. Let us say department number. Okay, or for range lookup you are using marks column. Or if you do in reverse direction the range lookup, your reverse direction in the sense there would be only one column from the range and there would be two columns from the source. So highest marks and lowest marks.
Okay.
Right? These are all the various columns that you will use in combination so as to perform the lookup, right? This high marks and low marks, if you use, if you are doing the normal range lookup. If you use marks, you are using reverse range lookup. If you use D number, this is direct lookup. These are the keys that you would use in order to perform those particular operations, right? Based on these keys, you can actually generate a lookup file set, which acts as an input for your input, not the input, reference link for your lookup. So what I mean to say, in the lookup, how the design would be, you are getting data from the source and you are getting data from the reference link, right? Whatever data that is coming from the reference link, use this particular data and create target file. The target file is your lookup file set. Okay, and lookup file set, while creating, based on your lookup operation, you create the lookup file set based on a particular key, either D number or marks or your range lookup keys, high marks and low marks. You are able to follow me how I am going to create lookup file set?
No, like how is that file set being created?
Now my intention is to tell you the difference between file set and lookup file set. When you use file set, right, you are going to create 6 files plus 1 descriptor file for 6 lakh records, let us say.
Okay.
Now when you replace that file set with lookup file set, even then you are going to get 6 files plus descriptor file. The only difference between lookup file set and file set is lookup file set actually gets created based on a key. And what I mean to say, while creating the lookup file set, give the key in such a way that that key should act as a lookup key. Lookup key in the sense, either it can be a direct lookup or sparse lookup. Whatever keys you are using in the lookup operator, okay, use that particular key to generate this particular lookup file set. What it does, if you are, let us say, if you are using D number, okay, D number in your direct lookup to get D name. Okay, what I'm asking you, in the reference link, whatever data is coming, let us say department table is being used, use the department table to build your lookup file set on the key department number. You are able to follow me? You only just tell me what is the reference link for lookup in case of employee table and department table.
For the department table, it will be the department number.
So what is the reference data for this lookup in employee table and department table?
It will be the department number.
So department table is your reference data. And on what key you are performing the lookup? D number. So now what I am asking, build a lookup file set from your reference data using the lookup key. Okay.
So that is build a file set from the department table using department number, right?
Exactly. So this is for direct lookup. If it is for range lookup, let us say students and grade table. In that case, what is the reference data?
The reference data, students and grade. The reference data is the grade.
Yes. So your intention is to perform range lookup. So what are the keys that you will be using for building the lookup file set for range lookup?
It would be the range of marks for the grade.
No. Now you are building a lookup file set from your reference data. In reference data, you don't have the column of marks. You have got only columns called high marks and low marks.
Yeah, high marks and low marks is what I meant actually. The two columns.
Okay, that's great actually. So while building the lookup file set from the reference data, identify what is the keys that has been used for lookup operation, and on that keys you generate the lookup file set. So what is the benefit that you are going to get is, there is an algorithm called hash. So while building, it mixes this hash algorithm plus index operation. These two would be used internally by the lookup file set to create files in such a way that, okay, when you use that lookup key operation in the lookup operator, it performs with 10 times faster than your ordinary lookup. You are able to follow me, right? This lookup file set, once you create on that particular lookup keys, how it is going to create, it creates in such a way that these lookup keys would be used for creating indexes as well. Like in databases, we are having indexes on a particular column, right? What is the purpose of having indexes in database? For fast retrieval of the data. How it is going to retrieve fastly inside the database? Lookup is nothing like it is nothing but your, what we say, telephone directory. If you want to pick, for example, Ram Narayan's phone number, what you would do, you will directly go to R page with alphabet R. That means you directly skipped A, B, C, D, and you directly went into R page, and there you can directly go into alphabetical order to RA. Similarly, in database also, indexes help you in that fast lookup, in that fast retrieval. Similarly, here also, while building the lookup file set, on that particular key, if you create that lookup file set, it would be very much faster. The reason being, it uses internally indexes. Okay. And so that lookup file set, when you use as a reference link for the lookup operator, it would generally be much faster compared to direct what we say, reference data. Maybe if you are using some reference data as database and all, try to use lookup file set, it will be much faster. But creating a lookup file set in real world will be a bit costly. Why? Because if you are very sure like that particular lookup file set can be used across the jobs, build a lookup file set. Or if you feel like that particular lookup file set is useful only for a single job, no need to build that lookup file set. Why? Because it also takes some time, right? It also hits some performance. So build that lookup file set only if that file set is being used across the jobs. Fine?
Okay.
Now going back to practical stuff. So this is your lookup file set, okay? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is
Hello,
your
can you hear
lookup
me?
file set. Yeah, I am there. This is your lookup file set. I am using lookup file set at the target. That means I am going to build a lookup file set now. So reading of lookup file set directly like file set reading and all is not possible. The whole and sole purpose of lookup file set is to be used as a reference link in your lookup operator. It is not possible to use lookup file set as a source and read it into some sequential file and all will not be possible. So the only way that you can use lookup file set is create a lookup file set and use it as a reference link in your lookup. That's it.
Okay.
So now I am going to explain you the properties that you can set while creating a lookup file set. It's taking some time to open. Okay, see here actually you are asked to enter policy number. Here it is asking me to enter key is equal to policy number on which key I actually wanted to do the direct lookup. That is what the first property means. When I use this particular lookup keys, under this the parent key is key. The property that I need to enter is key. This is a mandatory property, and here it expects me to give a key number that acts like a direct lookup. Now let us say in our previous example our department number is my direct lookup. So here I should have mentioned key is equal to department number. What is the meaning of keep is equal to false or true? In the sense, after the lookup operation is being performed, do you still want the department number column to be in the output or not? That is the meaning of your keep. If you use keep equal to true, department number also will be moved into the target. If you use keep equal to false, department number will not be shown in the output. Fine. So department number whole and sole purpose. Column? Sorry.
If we keep the keep equal to false, then what would be the other columns there without the department number?
No. This is the place where we are building the what we say lookup file set. This is not the lookup operation. Okay. In the lookup operation, this thing will be used as a reference, and I will show you. First, understand only lookup file set. Here lookup file set whole and sole purpose is I am going to create a lookup file set based on keys, and I am going to use in the next example I am going to use this policy number as the lookup key. Okay. You are able to follow me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I am building this policy number as I am giving this policy number as the key, and what are all the various columns that are there here is see all the columns. Fine, these are all the columns that are coming from my reference data, and in this particular set of reference columns I am using policy number column to create this particular lookup file set. Why? Because I am going to use policy number column as the direct lookup. Fine. And I am not going to move it to the target. That is what your keep equal to false. And where I am going to create this lookup file set, I am going to create this lookup file set in this path C input lookup file set.fs.
No, one question. When you say you are moving it to the target, so that is the lookup file set, right? Or are we moving something else from the lookup file set into the target?
No. What I mean here is, see, when I use keep, one second.
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused.
No problem. No. You have to ask the question.
No, I'll tell you what I understood. Probably you can correct me there.
Yeah,
okay.
Tell me.
Can you just go back? Yeah. If we have, say, we have the key as a policy number. Oh, let's go back to the example of the department number and department name. So department number and department name is the reference data, and there the key would be the department number. Okay.
Yes.
So we are creating the file set with the key as department number, and we have the other data as department name. When you say we are keeping the keep equal to true, we that's where I don't understand. Like, are we moving the data?
No. What is the meaning? Actual meaning out of it is, see, there are various columns here, right?
Yeah.
These columns, this is a lookup file set which would be used in the reference link.
Okay.
Now let us say all these columns other than this particular, what we say, this particular policy number, other than the policy number, everything is moved into output. Output means once we do this lookup operation on the policy number, the data that we are getting from the lookup file set is record number, source system, and all the other columns other than policy number. Then if you are going to use this setting as keep equal to false, it will not bring this particular thing into local memory. Okay. So it saves your memory. So if you use this particular, yes, only policy number, it would be just used in your lookup operation. It will not move on to the output link. If you say that keep equal to true, what it feels like is maybe you want it in the output so that you can use it in your next stages lookup operation or whatever may be in your subsequent operations. So it brings your policy number column also into your output. See, each column will be carrying, if it is very huge data, each column would be carrying terabytes of data. If it is very huge table, even policy number will be having very huge data. And if you are very sure like your policy number will not be moved onto output link, okay, it optimizes your performance if you use keep equal to false. You are saying to this particular lookup file set saying that use this policy number just for comparison purpose only. No, there is no need for you to bring it onto the output. So internally it uses memory by using this setting for this policy number. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Any doubts in this discussion?
No, that's clear.
See, if you have got any doubts, see, keep equal to false, right? There is some description here for this help also. See, set this to true if this key column will be required to be propagated to the output stream. Okay,
yeah, now used in with the output stream, because previously I was a bit confused whether we are building the file set there or are we moving it into another target when you said the
no.
Yeah, now it's clear. Like we are moving the data into another part.
Yes, and now what it is going to do, this policy number, when I mention it as key, the end lookup file set which is being created, right? In this policy number will be used as a index column. So when you use this policy number as the lookup key in your lookup operator, right, it is going to retrieve the policy numbers very much faster. The reason being the lookup file set speciality itself is to create indexed lookup key column inside the whole lookup file set. So when I have mentioned the key as policy number, and when you define the policy number as the lookup key inside your lookup operator, the performance will be very much faster. And coming to the lookup range, I haven't considered here as the lookup, I haven't considered it as range lookup. I will show in the subsequent example how I can use it in the range lookup. Now, do I require to allow duplicates in this particular lookup file set? See, you can allow duplicates, and in real time, it's better to allow duplicates also. Why? Because generally based on your requirement, it's better to go with your allow duplicates also. At the end, if there is some time, I will tell you how this thing creates problem. Like in my application, I have set this allow duplicates equal to false, and it created a lot of problems for me. Okay, when we use source SQL, right, in that if you use left outer join, all the duplicates will come in the output. For a single source record coming from the source, if you do left outer join on a particular table, okay, and if the source record matches with 2 or 3 columns in the in the reference data, 3 records will be sent to the output. Even though I'm getting single source record from the source, if there are 3 matches in the reference data, you will get 3 outputs. You are able to follow me? SQL, how it works?
Yes, Ram.
So, but you use this.
Get 3 output, and
for whatever match it is going to find, it is going to give you an output. Even though I'm getting 1 record from the source, it duplicates it into 3 based on the match that it finds. But actually, from the requirement end, you may not be use all the 3. Okay, so you want to find out only 1 matching record out of it. So you might be mentioning some range condition within it. But if you use allow duplicates equal to false, what it does, okay, it randomly picks one of the record that might not match with the source record. If you use additional condition to remove that duplicates, you might have used some range lookup as well along with the direct match in order to get only 1 record to the output. In that case, if you use allow duplicates equal to false, it might pick a wrong record out of those 3 records. Okay, you are able to follow me, right? That wrong record might not match with your range lookup. So eventually you will get wrong result. So instead what you can do, allow duplicates equal to true you do. Okay, you allow all the three records from the reference link. From the source, as you have given this additional operation of range, what it does, it is going to pick based on this range lookup and picks only one particular output, which would be very much fine according to your requirement. This mistake if you do, at the end you will not even able to understand why you are getting, it will not throw you any lookup failure. Why? Because when you are using left outer join in lookup, you will use lookup failure as continue. Okay, in left outer joins equivalent condition in lookup is go to constraints tab. There you can set continue option. I will show you when once you get to the lookup stage. There I will tell you how to set inner join, how to set left outer join, how to set the various joins in all these operators. But remember, in lookup, if you want to do left outer join, the condition that you need to do is go to constraints window. There you need to mention the operation as continue. So you are able to follow me, right? What would be the problem that you will get when you use SQL and when you use this lookup?
When we use SQL and when we use lookup as in?
Yeah, sequence means duplicates will come, and in lookup also you need to filter out. Yes, you understood the significance of this particular thing, right? How it is going to create problems if you don't take much care out of it.
Yeah, but one question there, like even when you say duplicates, and when you specify a specific range, or even if it's not a range, when you're just giving a condition to match it to a particular value, say x equal to a. So in that case, if you have multiple rows with the same condition, will it give the duplicates or not?
Yes, it will give duplicates. If you give allow duplicates equal to true, okay, and if you are going to have one source record which matches with all the three, you will get three outputs in the lookup as well. Okay. That is the reason generally if there is only direct lookup, that is the reason people will prefer allow duplicates equal to false if it is direct lookup. But if your requirement is in such a way that among those three matching records coming from the reference, there is one particular matching record, and you are having a way also to identify that matching record using range lookup, let us say. Then you can club together all these things and give allow duplicates equal to true. That means you are bringing all the three matching records into lookup, and there you are actually looking up onto correct record using range lookup.
Okay, got it.
That is how you need to implement it.
Yeah, got it.
Fine. So now we will see how this lookup file set is being created. Now this lookup file set I have created for a direct lookup. I will show you how to create it for a range lookup as well.
Okay.
And one more thing, while you are when you get your tech spec, right, you are going to decide upon the stages that you need to use for your operations, right? Identify those stages. Sorry, identify those stages. I told you, like, identify those stages based on count. And people will be saying like your transformer would be slower and all during the tech spec space, during the tech spec phase. So if somebody says it is having not, if somebody says like it is not having that much good performance, right, just don't go with their words. Try to analyze the performance with huge count, then only you decide whether it works fine in your environment or not.
Okay.
Never try to do it with 10 records or 50 records, and if you see one of the stage is working faster, don't think like that stage is faster. Okay, why? Because we haven't tested it with huge amount of data. With less data, sometimes that variation comes, but check it with at least 5 lakh records or 6 lakh records, then you can identify which one is faster. Now the lookup file set is being created. I am going to use it. So I told you, right, lookup file set can be used only as your reference link in your lookup. Okay, don't worry about all the properties that are there in lookup now. Lookup is a stage which helps you to perform this particular operation of joins and all, to get D name based on D number. So lookup file set is being used as the reference, and in this particular lookup operation, I am going to use this policy number as the direct lookup key. Is your VMware a bit faster? See,
hello.
This is Yanita. This is your lookup stage. When I open this lookup stage, see, please ensure that your policy number column, right, is being considered as your, what do you say, keys. Policy number, you just select the key. This one. Okay, once you select the key, these two will be highlighted, policy number and policy number. So this oh sorry, this can be, one second, I will just cancel it out. Do you really want to exit? Yes. No, one second, I am opening it. Policy number and policy number, fine. So you need to mention these policy numbers as key values here in this particular lookup, and see that there is no mapping actually being mentioned here. Generally speaking, lookup how it looks, if it is a normal lookup without a lookup file set, when I select this policy number and I need to drag it onto this policy number. You remember the way what I am doing? You just select this policy number and you need to drag it onto the upper policy number. Drag and leave it. You will see a line here. One mapping line would be shown in this format. Okay, that line is not being shown here now. Why? Because for lookup file set and for sparse lookup, you don't get that line. Inherently, it considers policy number as the only key. Why? Because while creating the lookup file set, you have mentioned the key as policy number. That is the reason you are able to see here policy number being highlighted. And I have given only for the output link that policy number is, sorry, I no need to mention here. I need to mention just here. See, policy number in the both input and reference, I have mentioned policy number as the keys. That's it. Fine. That is how these two are highlighted. And remember that here we are going to do the direct lookup on policy number. The reason why we haven't got this mapping line is for range lookup, sorry, for sparse lookup and for lookup file set, you won't get that line. But inherently it considers that policy number is used as a direct lookup. Okay. This is how your lookup works like. I will explain you each and every property of lookup once we get into lookup stage. But this is for your what is say, understanding of the lookup file set. You are able to understand, right? Whatever key you have mentioned, those keys got highlighted in the lookup, and inherently it is mapping that particular keys. Before that, what are the columns that what are the columns that came extra now from the lookup? This DS link 15 is your reference data, and if you observe here, I am not dragging even a single thing. Drag at least. link policy data. Here you are getting DS link 15. Fine. I will be dragging at least one column into the output so that we can see whether it is working fine or not. Dragging the column city. Fine. So you are able to get this extra column city underscore 1 from the lookup, from the reference link.
Okay.
Fine. This is how your lookup operation is being performed using your lookup file set. Coming to the similar concept of range lookup file set, here we will see how a range lookup file set would be created. Okay. Range lookup file set would be something like the settings would be something like you will get. I told you, right, this range lookup can be performed in the two directions. Okay, here once I selected this range lookup equal to yes, if you want you can actually select key for direct lookup plus range lookup here, but for my example I'm not going to use direct lookup, I am concentrating only on the sparse lookup. If you want you can select this key and you can mention some department number so that both the range lookup as well as the direct lookup will be used. Okay, now for this example I am considering the range lookup. See, once I selected this range lookup, is equal to yes. Okay, I have got this lower boundary equal to marks low, upper boundary is equal to marks high. Okay, these two properties came into picture, lower boundary and upper boundary. In the lower boundary I have given marks low as the column name, and upper boundary I have given the column name marks high. So based on these two columns my lookup file set would be created. Now it is a direct lookup, right? It is a direct range lookup. I want to do in the reverse direction. How can I do it? Do one thing. Delete these two. Why? Because it is an exclusive property. If you delete these two, you will see one more new property. What is the property? I will show you. I'm deleting this. See? Bound column.
Bounded column. Okay.
Yeah. This is in the reverse direction. Let us say in the reference data you are getting only one column. Okay. But in the source you are getting two corresponding columns. That means your reference column should lie between two columns from the source. Okay, in this way you can actually mention department number, and this department number should be there in your source as a range lookup. You are able to follow me, right? The reverse direction.
Yeah.
When you are getting two columns from the reference, it is direct range lookup. When you get one column from the reference and there are two corresponding columns in the source, it is reverse range lookup. So for reverse range lookup, the property that you need to use is bounded column. Okay. You are able to follow me, right, in the both the directions how you have to set this. This is the only setting that you get for your range lookup. Okay, what I would do, I will run this thing for direct range lookup, lower bound and upper bound. Okay, and before that we will see what is the data that's there in my sequential file. View link policy data. Yes. If you understand this range lookup setting, during our lookup discussion, we can concentrate much into sparse lookup and the other lookup operation. See, from my source, this is the reference link, the reference data link, reference data source. I am using this reference data source to build a lookup file set, right? So this is what I am getting from the reference data. Record key as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, source system as LL, policy number is there. and see marks high 20 to 10. See 10 to 20, here I haven't used the grades. 10 to 20 means I am using full name. In the output I will be getting full name. 10 to 20 I will be getting this name. 30 to 40 I will be getting this name. 50 to 60 this name. 70 to 80 and 90 to 100 these names I should get. So my output would be something like this name would come based on the marks that falls. Fine.
Okay.
Now I am building it. Anita?
Yes, Ram.
Here see the data that I am getting from the, now I am going to use this particular range lookup file set in my lookup operation. Now I am just going to show you how the source data would look like, and then we can proceed with this lookup operation. How the settings have been done, that's it. See the values that I am getting, marks as 15, 35, 15, 35, 35 from the source. Based on these marks, I would get one extra column with the name. Fine?
Okay.
Okay. In the lookup, the mapping would be something like the marks should lie between marks low and marks high. See, I have selected this thing. If you observe, there is a range lookup key here. Sorry, range lookup checkboxes here. Okay. Now I am sure like I am going to perform range lookup for a single column coming from source. So that is why I have check marked here. If I check mark here, that means the reverse lookup will happen. Reverse range lookup will happen. If you check mark in the reference data's lookup, this range lookup checkbox, then it means reverse range lookup. Now I am putting this particular checkbox in, this check mark in your source data. Okay, that means it is going to perform direct range lookup. So once I check mark this one, this particular expression derivation section would be enabled. See, this is white. All others are in label formats like gray color. Only this one is in white color. Okay. Once you check mark this thing, this one will become like a expression editor. Now what you can do, you select this one and double click it. See, you will be getting this window. Okay, where in this window I have mentioned like source data marks should be greater than or equal to reference data's marks low, and source data's marks should be less than or equal to reference data's marks high. This is how I should mention your what you say operation. Fine.
Okay. This is, and here are we typing in, or is it like a drop down that you get there?
No. Here you need to what you say type in like no. You will get the 1 second. As this is range lookup, right? It will automatically be set. Okay. Generally, if you want to perform the range lookup from the database column as the reference, now you are using lookup file set. Actually, here you are now here you are using lookup file set, so you are not allowed to edit here. Why? Because you have built the keys in such a way. Fine.
Okay.
You can actually modify this operator, but generally if you say instead of lookup file set, you have used the reference data as database itself directly. There you can actually double click here, you will get a drop down, you can select the column and you can perform the operation. Here as it is lookup file set, it is built on these particular marks. Okay, it is built, as you have check marked this one marks, these things everything is see is being shown. But here you can't do it. Why? Because this thing is check marked at the marks column.
Okay. Yeah.
So here you
that's what I was asking on the range column, not the input column.
Okay. Here you can actually select. Yes.
Select it, right? Yeah.
But if you modify it to other columns, then there is no purpose of building your lookup file set itself.
No.
Last, right?
Yeah. What I was asking is if we can go and do it here rather than.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. But if you are using lookup file set, you want to give some extra performance to the job. If you there is a flexibility like you can change it. But if you move it from the keys that you have created the lookup file set, the performance would again be what we say, the original performance only. It won't be improved. Whatever keys that you have used for lookup file set creation, if you use those, your performance would be good.
Okay. Yeah.
That is what the point here, and what we will do, we will run it and I will show you the output, and we are done with your range lookup. We will proceed with the complex flat file station.
Okay.
Complex flat file and your files, and external source and external target would be theory session, but complex flat file somehow I got one one file which can be used for my input, so I will be using that file to show you practically. Generally I thought initially to give you practical knowledge about complex flat file, the reason being the source for this complex flat file is very difficult to find. I told you, right, in only one column, only one record, one particular file should have 3 different records or 2 different records should be there, formats. So I was able to find some fixed width COBOL file. I will be using the complex flat file for the discussion, and I will explain what are all the settings that are specific to that particular file. I told you, right, not unlike other stages, these settings of this complex flat file varies drastically based on the input files. So I will be explaining the settings that are pertaining to your fixed width COBOL file, and I will explain you all the properties that are there. So if you know the properties, in future if you get some other file, you can actually set accordingly. So this is what your range lookup. Today my intention is to complete this complex flat file and theory of this particular external source and external target, and I want to jump over into at least one database stage, so that in the next session we can complete all the database stages and we can give one long stretch on the processing stages. See, based on the marks I have got this full name, last name. This full name value based on the range lookup, right? I was able to pick up this full name. Okay. You want to verify the data?
Yeah, that should be fine.
It would be fine. Generally, human will make mistakes, not so. It is going to give the proper values. And now, going to the complex flat file, you just implement. You are given these tutorials, right? You will be given these videos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So while you are practicing, make sure that place these settings and you just check it out. And coming to the complex flat file stage, this is the most complex thing, and just give me a second. This is the most complex stage in the file stages. Generally, this would be avoided in the companies until and unless they are really forced to do so. Sometimes if they are going to get files that are having just 2 or 3 record types, they would first convert it into sequential files and then they will be reading it. But there might be scenarios like where you might not be in a situation to convert it into some other format and you need to do it. So in that case, there won't be any other option other than doing it, other than using this complex flat file. So the complex flat file UI will look in this way. General section is something like you are going to mention your description here. Okay, and this fast path 1 of 8, this is helpful for fast navigation. When you click, it will take you to the next tabs. Okay, this is how your this will proceed. But now how we are going to proceed is something like, in this general, you can provide the description about this particular stage and go to the file options. There are actually various file options being provided. Okay, now if you see files, file pattern, source and source list are there. Okay, when you use files, okay, it is specific to a single file or multiple files. You are able to understand me, right?
Yeah,
here,
but
don't compare it with your sequential file stages, file and file pattern.
Okay.
Okay. Just give me a second.
Okay.
This thing, if I explain you in a different way, you will not even understand this thing. Now, if I select this file type, what it is going to, from the data stage and how it is going to feel is, okay, if the file type is set to files, okay, you have to give either a single file name or multiple files separated with commas or semicolons. Okay. The name itself, see, file, files. So either you can mention single file or you can actually mention multiple files. By using comma separated or semicolon separated or new line character separated column file names here. If the
Okay.
file name is set to file pattern, right, what it is expected, mention here a single file name. But if you open that particular file, it should have the list of all the files. You are able to follow me? Now let us
Yeah.
say I am using file pattern and I have given cff source.txt. Now if I open this particular file, okay, it should have list of what are all the files that I should read. It is
Okay.
not a single file. This file, if you open, it should give me list of all the files with their paths. Like if you open this
Okay.
file, some 100 files information should be there. I
Okay.
should be able to read all the 100 files. That is what the file pattern. Not like in your
Okay.
sequential file ram.txt means it is going to read all the ram related files, right? No, it is not in this way here. Here file pattern means it is expecting a file. If you open that, it should have the list of all the other files.
Okay.
And
Got
now, if this is very much important, if you select this particular type as source, right, source or destination, you need to type the name of one or more program names and their associated arguments separated either by semicolons or new line characters.
Okay.
Okay, when you use source or destination, now we are not speaking about files. File pattern is something like you are mentioning the file name here and you have to read the data. Now I am not concentrating on files and I am not going to read the files directly. I am giving some source. Now let us say my source is a COBOL program. Okay, I am calling the COBOL program to read the data out of it. Here I need to mention the complete path of the COBOL program and then I need to mention what are all the arguments it requires. Okay, you are able to follow me, right? If there are multiple arguments, you need to provide it by comma separated arguments.
Okay.
Fine?
Yeah.
And for destination also, and if for the source list, how it is going to work, it is something like I told you, right, earlier in file pattern, you are going to mention a single file. If you open it, it should have the list of other file names. Okay, similarly, if you use source list or destination list, you will see the destination list when you are using this complex flat file at the target. So here you are seeing source list. That means type the name of a file here. When you open that particular file, you should see various program names.
Okay.
You are able to follow me?
Yeah.
And remember that file also must contain not only the program names but also how to execute that programs also. That commands also should be there. Okay, these things don't worry, you will not come across, but remember how to use various options here. If tomorrow, if worst luck comes into picture, then you will be working with the source and source list, very torturous. If you use source list, that means you have to give a particular file name. If you open that file name, you will see various list of the programs that needs to be accessed from the source, and there, remember, they should provide you the commands also. If they don't provide you commands, by mistake it will throw you an error and you will not even able to identify what it is. Complex flat file is the worst stage. Why? Because it will not help you with the debugging thing. Other stages, if they are going to throw you some errors, it will clearly mention like this is the error. But flat file is something like it's just its mum. It won't give you any errors properly. Proper detailed errors it won't throw. So very careful while using complex flat file. And coming to this record type. Okay, there are various options for record type like fixed block, variable block, and variable span, something like that. So the main purpose of this complex flat file, the main place where we use this complex flat file is mainframes. I told you in the earlier classes itself, right? So there are concepts like this variable block span, variable span and all. The meanings are something like, see, if you are going to use fixed, all the records in that particular file would be of same length.
Okay.
This is the default one. The record length inside a particular file would always be constant, fixed. If you use fixed block, record length would be constant and record blocks, that means 10 records or 20 records would be considered under a single block. You are able to understand me?
Yeah.
There is a file, inside that file each record would be having fixed length, and also if you are going to use fixed block mode, that means your complex flat file stage expects grouped record sets, and each record should be of fixed length. Grouped record set means 10 records. 10 records is one group in a particular file, let us say. Okay. It expects in blocks. It reads data in terms of blocks. 10 records as one block, 10 records as one block. It reads in the block, and remember that block also should be fixed block. 10 records should be under one block. Okay. When you use variable, that means record would be of variable length. One record would be of one length and the next record following would be of different length. If you use variable block, not only the length of the records, but also the blocks of the records also would be vary. One block would be of 10 records, other block would be of 7 records.
Okay.
And here comes your mainframe's concepts. When you use variable span, that means records will be having variable lengths. Okay. And I told you, right, there is a control area and boundaries in your mainframe's concepts. So these particular records have variable lengths, and the lengths might span over control interval boundaries. Okay, there are control areas within that mainframe files, right? If you open any what we say MVS data set inside your mainframes, okay, you will see lot of data, and you can say that there are contours being defined across this particular data, right? So if you look into the mainframe data, when you select variable span, you are telling to complex flat file that the file that I'm going to read, okay, the length of the particular records within that file might span one or more control interval boundaries. Okay, that is the information that you are going to tell to your complex flat file. When you use block span, not only the length of the records, but also the block size of the records also would be spanned across the control interval contours. Fine?
Okay.
This thing is very difficult to understand, and this thing is very difficult to simulate practically also. Why? Because we need to have mainframe environment. You are able to follow me, right? It is very much difficult, and here very tough, and I have got some fixed length COBOL file. And one more thing, I thought to show you COBOL file import also, but I thought it is very much difficult. From company, I have taken from one of my previous projects. I just took one of the fixed width COBOL file. I haven't brought it directly. I have modified the data inside it, and I brought it. Okay, so I can't show you how to import a COBOL file here. Like import operation would be there, right? Import sequence file when we are column metadata. Similarly, here we can import the metadata using copybook and the original data file. Okay, so it would be very difficult. So I myself have typed in the data.
Okay.
Why? Because I can't get the copybook out of my company. So this is what the fixed. I'm going to use fixed with the file, and here missing file mode and all are again the same. Error depends. Okay. Okay, whatever we discussed in sequential file, that applies here. And reject mode also the same.
Okay.
Report progress, you know. Keep file partitions also, you know. Read first n rows also, you know.
Yeah.
Read first n rows means it is going to read the first nodes. And multiple node reading. Read from multiple nodes also, you know. I showed you the picture, right? Yeah. Number of readers per node also, you know. So these things are common. Okay, these things don't ever set these particular values. These are actually waste settings. Okay, don't touch those, and if you touch those, you will actually come into some problems which you can't even identify. These things, what they are going to say, just give me a second.
Ram, can you just give me 2 minutes? I'll be back.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Hi, Raf, I'm back.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Nita, I'm there. So here in this particular record option section, right, float representation is being shown. That means for the float data type, it would by default use IEEE format, and you can't change it anyway. And coming to this particular general section, byte order, don't touch these settings. I will explain you how it works. Little Indian means, internal representation of the final internal representation of any computer would be in zeros, one ones only, right? So if you are going to write something, bits. So if you are going to write something internally, it would be, for example, a particular word is the RAM. Okay, this particular string would be converted into some, when each character is being deciphered, character will be having some, let us say, 2 bytes of data. That means 16 bits would be there. Okay. So each character again will be internally deciphered into zeros and ones. Now what it does, the little Indian is going to move this high order byte onto right hand side. Little Indian is a byte order format. It actually orders the bytes. Okay, sometimes it changes the values and meanings also. So that's why always put that native Indian. Native Indian is something like it uses your underlying computer's architecture. Okay, it uses underlying computer architecture to order the bytes. Ordering in the sense there would be high byte value, low byte value in a particular name, right? Okay, in that high byte would be placed at the dead end. That means at the right hand side if you are going to use Little Indian. If you are going to use Big Indian, it is going to place that high byte value on the left hand side. So when you use this particular thing, we are not sure how it behaves. So generally prefer going with native Indian. The reason being it uses the underlying architecture, it understands how our computer works, and based on that it identifies the byte order. Okay. Next, the character set that you are having is ASCII and EBCDIC. What is the importance of ASCII and EBCDIC? Generally speaking, what is the importance of character set itself?
ASCII character is what we generally use, right? Than absolute.
So what is the difference? Not what is used most frequently. We use ASCII more, but what is the difference? What is the impact of character set? See, ASCII is something, it is not having complete literals from all the languages. Okay, it covers all the literals from your English and and all the Canadian symbols. Okay, and some more languages. But if you want to represent some Japanese symbols, you can't use the ASCII mode. You are able to understand? ASCII is nothing but a set of characters, okay, from different languages. Among that, it became very much popular as it covers complete data, complete characters from the English language. Okay. So this is a character set. This is a file this is a character set file that comes with your installations, even with OS and all, in such a way that internally it represents each. Now let us say if I use RAM, how can computer know that it has to be converted into this particular number? If you observe, R will be eventually converted into bytes, and if you calculate that bytes to some number, it would be given as 156 for letter R. How come computer know that R is equivalent to 156? So it looks into this ASCII file and identify what is the equivalent number, and based on that number it creates the bits. Okay, so your EBCDIC and all EBCDIC will cover more characters compared to ASCII. So by default use ASCII. Now coming to data format, you can either use it as text or binary. What is the format of data that you are reading? Is it in the text format or binary? That is what the meaning out of it.
Okay.
And record delimiter. Record delimiter means at the end it should be identified like this record has been completed or not, right? Based on one character. I told you in previous classes also, there should be a record delimiter in the format section so that it identifies this is the end of this particular record. So here you are giving a value as new line, Unix new line or null value.
Okay.
Okay, generally place it as Unix new line. And coming to decimal section, okay, what is the rounding options that you would prefer? Either rounding it to the nearest value, or you want to round it up, down, truncate towards 0. This for decimal columns it is applicable. And coming to this separate, it is actually period or comma. Okay, 1 second. Separator actually helps you to now inside this decimal, how your decimal looks like, generally speaking. How your decimal value looks like, 23.40, right? What is the separator here?
The decimal
between
point.
the integer part and the decimal part, dot. Your period is your separator, right? Here, period operator, this period symbol, dot. Okay, so you can either mention, for this particular decimal data type, you can actually decide what rounding you should have. like nearest value or to 0, truncated to 0 and all. For the separator, you can use period or comma. If you use comma, it expects the decimal values in this format. 23 comma 40 should be there. Okay, this will be used as the separator between integer part and the decimal part and the fraction part. Fine.
Yep.
Generally go with project default. So this is the setting that you get from your administrator itself for the decimal values. Now character, these are the default values which you are going to give for character data type, decimal data type and integer data type. Let us say you are trying to read something from the source and and one of the column that you are expecting is character type and you don't get any value, you can actually mention this default value as 23, decimal as 23.00. Okay, by default it places those values in those columns. Fine. You are able to follow me, right? Any doubts in these settings?
No, I think these are clear.
Fine. And go to the records. This is the most tedious part in this complete explanation. Okay. Before this, I will show you what is my source file, how it looks like. C output cff underscore source.txt. See, this is the fixed with the COBOL file that I have fixed, that I have picked. Okay. Hello, Nita.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, if you observe this file, there are three categories of records. Head record, that means starts with head, and detail record starts with D, and tail record starts with T. Okay, so there are three categories of records here: head record, detail record, and tail records. Now, my intention is to separate the head record into one output, detail records into one output, tail records into some other output. You are able to follow me, right? Here, I am actually trying to read different record values into three different outputs. My source is having three different record categories: head record, detail record, and tail records. And now my intention is to read it into the output. And if you observe each record type, if you consider, they are of different type again, different length, different record length. But if you observe one particular type, they are all of same record, same length.
Same length.
So this is the complexity in this one, but don't expect this much simple file would come. Okay, it would be very much tedious in real world. Now my intention is to write to three outputs. First output would be having only head record, second would be having detail, third would be having tail. So now see, here in the records tab, there are various things shown up here. In the records tab, I am able to see head record, detail record, tail record. If you observe, this thing has been typed by me. Okay, see, when I double click, it's asking me to enter a name. So I have typed in this one. This haven't come by default. Okay.
Okay.
I have typed this head record, detail record, and tail record. Once I select this head record, this particular right hand side column values gets shown to me. So what I have done, I have imported these things. Now I know that what are all the column names that are there. I have seen it in my copybook and I have explicitly typed here. Okay. For header, see, this is the file, right? For header, there are three columns here. Others are being shown up as empty. Okay. There are data for three columns, but others, see, header type is there. H, filler, that means gap. This means this gap, right? H to US, there is gap. That been given as filler, and then country code, and then one more filler, and then header year, and then one more filler, header month, one more filler. That's it. Okay. I have explicitly typed these things here. Ideally speaking, you should have got it from import of your copybook and then data file. Okay. Ideally, you should have got in that way. In companies, your COBOL books and all will be provided by your clients, your source. Okay. By importing, you will get these things. Either if you don't get through import, you can actually type it also. No issues with that one. Fine. Now I have typed it here explicitly. Okay. Why I am saying this is, if you ask me like import, I don't have that copybook itself with me. So I am saying like I have typed these column names here. Fine.
Yeah.
You are able to identify, right, how I have written. This is my header type, filler and all. Okay. When I select the detailed record, see, I have got lot more stuff here. How I am getting lot more stuff? I have got lot more records here. Sorry, lot more columns here. D filler, US filler, 99 filler. So that is how I have mentioned this particular detailed record. And trailer record also I have typed in explicitly the same way.
Okay.
And if you observe, the important thing that you need to observe here is level number. What is the purpose of having level number? In the COBOL file, there is a concept of level number. That means COBOL file defines hierarchies using the level number column. It would be from 02 to 49. Okay. Something like hierarchy is something shown up like parent, okay, child. In the COBOL files, you actually can, even though you show it, you are seeing it in a in a single file. By using this level numbers, they will be identify which one is child, which one is parent. Okay, this will be having level of 2. This will be having level of say 5. Okay, this will be having say level of 11. You are able to follow me, right? So from these level numbers, we can easily identify like these are related in this format, like hierarchical structures. Okay, so these level numbers will be provided by either by your copybook. Okay, in the copybook information itself, you can easily identify which data type corresponds to which particular structure. Okay, now I have typed in here. I frankly speaking, I haven't typed in. The moment I typed in, these things came as default. I have given the level number as 02. Fine. See, they have mentioned like level number would be 02 to 49. Okay. National language support, I will tell you in the later classes what is the importance of the national language support. Okay. And coming to this particular general column name, I have mentioned it as header record, header type, and native type as character, length equal to 1, scale equal to 0. That's it. Fine.
Okay.
I'm especially concentrating on header type. That means H is there, right? HDT in that file.
Yeah.
For that I'm saying. Why? Because I have selected header type here. If I select filler, again it will change the settings. Now when I select header type length is 1 and character type is 1, 0, and the level number is 2. Fine. You are able to understand how the structures has to be defined for each type, right? When I select header record, you are able to see all the columns. For each columns, again you need to mention the properties here. You got it, right?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes.
Now going to these particular columns, when I have selected this particular header record, all the columns are being shown up here. This is one more way to view the data, nothing more than that. If you select the detailed record, it will show you all the columns that you have written here. Okay. If you select this one, here it will be changed. Here you won't see anything different other than the representation. That's it.
Okay.
Fine. You understood this particular tab?
Yeah.
Clear? No doubts, right?
No. It's clear.
If there is only single record, you can directly select the single record. These sort of things will be disabled and only labels will be shown, which will be in non-editable format.
Okay.
You are saying that my source will be having single record type only. Now going to the record ID. This is important tab. Okay, why? Because this is the place where you identify whether it is a header record, detail record, or trailer record. See, when you are identifying a particular data as header record, you are giving the header type. That means first column type equal to H, the value. This is the way that you can identify which record is header, which record is detail, which record is type. So I am saying that first column name is header type. So first column name, if it is having H, that means this is a header record. Similarly for detail record, it should be D. For trailer record, it should be T. Fine?
Yeah.
Coming to the layout, this is once again a simple tab. Now remember, we are in stage space layout mode. There is one more tab called output, even that we need to discuss. Now in the stage page, I am in the layout tab. Inside this, if you see, there are two things, parallel and COBOL. Here, parallel and COBOL gives you the code in orchestrate format. If you select parallel, okay, what are all the settings so far we have given, everything will be shown here in the orchestrate format. If I use COBOL, all the settings that I have done so far will be shown in COBOL file mode.
Okay.
Okay, what are all the settings I have done so far will be shown here in two different formats. If I use parallel, it is going to give me this particular schema, complete schema. Whatever I have defined so far, it would be given in the schema format. See, record. When you see this particular thing as record, this is orchestrate format. Okay, here you are seeing it as schema, but if you want to export or import it, it is not possible. This is generally the schema thing. Whatever settings that you have done so far, okay, all the settings comes under your schema definition. Okay, but it is represented here in your orchestrate format. Now COBOL, if you select, it would be shown up in your COBOL format. That's it. Fine.
Yeah.
NLS map and advanced we will discuss in later classes. This will be common for all the stages. And coming to the output, now all the settings you have done in the stage tab. That means while reading you have done all the settings. Now you need to output onto 3 different links, right? Your final target is to put this data onto 3 different targets. So for that, what are all the settings you need to do? Go to the selections page. Here in the selection page, you are seeing you have got 3 different sections: header record, detail record, and trailer record. Right? Now what I need to do? Go to this header record, select all those columns, and click onto the right hand link. Where it would be placed in the link header. That means first output.
Okay.
In the first output, you have selected the header record. In this particular header record category, you are picking 4 columns and you are dragging it onto the right hand side. Fine. Now if you go to link detail records, here I have selected all these things and you can put it onto the right hand side. Right hand side means you click either of these buttons, it would move into the right hand side. Fine.
Okay.
And coming to the third output link trailer, I have actually added all the trailer records onto the right hand side. Remember, it will not stop you from moving any of the detailed record columns also into the output. But from our requirement end, I want only trailer records to be placed on trailer output. Fine.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Coming to the constraints tab, even here, while movement of the data onto one particular link, you need to mention the constraints here. Trailer type, when you say, it should be equivalent to type T. That means output link underscore trailer. Okay, when you are the data, there should be some data constraints, right? Then how can data would be moved onto each link? So for that particular thing, we have to mention the constraints here. Link underscore trailer. Okay, you can write this condition like on the trailer type should be equivalent to T. Then only that data should be moved onto link trailer. For link header, that means the first output header type should be equivalent to H. Then only the data would be moved onto this particular link. Fine.
Okay.
Once again, here it is being repeated. Now this is the final justification. Like first output link, these are the columns and these are the settings. In the second output link, these are the columns that are being shown. Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever we have discussed in that particular stage thing, again it is being repeated here. So that is how your settings are being done in your complex flat file. It is so complex, right? This thing would be varied from input. Yes, this thing would be varied from file to file.
Okay.
Now I am going to compile it and I will show you how the data would be split, and I will show you how complex flat file write properties, if there are anything extra comes in complex flat file write. That means if you use it in the target, I will show you and we can wind up this complex flat file.
Okay.
What is the first output? Header records, right? Sorry, I mapped it to detail records, the first one. Fine.
Okay.
All the detail records came in the first output. And
No,
all the
that was
header
detailed
records. So all the detail records comes into second output. and all the trailer records comes into third output. Fine. This is how I split the data from the complex flat file stage. Now I will be showing you complex flat file write. Here write in the sense I am going to create a complex flat file, but for my example I am going to create a single record complex flat file. I am reading the sequential file. Okay. Unnecessarily clicked on this transformer. Which is a direct mapping file. Now coming to the properties of complex flat file write. See, if you observe in the general section, I am trying to give information like what is the output file that I am going to create, cff_out. In the C output folder, cff_out. This is the file that I wanted to create. Okay. This is my target file that would be created out of my complex flat file. I have selected file type as files. If you see, I told you in the source we got source and source list. Here we are going to get destination list. If you observe here, I don't have any file pattern.
Okay.
Okay. This is the change that you see in when you are using CFF in the target, and file names are again the same. Neeta, are you actually have you started recording?
No, I am not the presenter today. I am not the organizer today.
Even myself, I am also not the organizer. Have you got that record option with you in the screen?
No, I don't have that.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure whether they are placing record or not. You are able to remember whatever concepts I told today, right? Just if you just confirm with Basu.
Usually when Basu asked me, like he asked me, he types a message in chat to asking me to record it. Today he did not do that.
Okay. Okay, it's okay then. You just remember these settings. Don't worry about these stuff and all. Okay, you just remember, and if you are not going to get video that particular day, right? You just try to recap what I have told based on the settings. That's enough actually. And coming to this file name specifies where your target file needs to be created and what is the name of the file. And once again, I'm going to create a fixed record file, and the write option should be overwrite. One second, let me see if I can.
I ran one thing. Can you actually check with Basu at least now? Because I am a person with really bad memory, so I might not remember each and everything.
I just remembered now. Why? Because not sure. One second, I'm just asking him.
Okay.
బస్వా ఈ అమ్మాయికి రికార్డింగ్ అయితే పెడుతున్నారు కదా, ఈ అమ్మాయికి నీతాకి పెట్టేశారు కదా. అదే తనకి సడన్ గా గుర్తుకొచ్చింది ఇట్లా రికార్డింగ్ సంగతి అని చెప్పేసి. ఓకే, నో ప్రాబ్లం. సరే అబ్బా, అదే కన్ఫర్మ్ చేద్దామని ఒకసారి. ఈరోజు కొంచెం కాంప్లెక్స్ టాపిక్ చెప్పా, అందు గురించి ఎప్పుడైనా ఫ్యూచర్ లో రెఫరెన్స్ ఉండడానికి. Okay. He actually placed that recording.
Okay, that's good.
Yes. Coming to this record type, fixed write option overwrite. But at the end, right, I would be giving you a PDF file that would help you actually in understanding the stages. All the settings and explanations would be there. Don't worry about that. He anyway placed that recording also. And these reject mode and all are once again same. And see, cleanup on failure came as the extra option, which you saw in your write mode. That means when you use it as sequential file in the target, you have come across this particular cleanup on failure. And filter. Filter is something like if you want to filter out something while during writing, you can actually use this filter, that grep command and all I showed you, right? For example, not only grep, you can use any Unix command here in the filter. Okay, that acts like filter basically. It shouldn't be cat and all. You can use something like grep. You can use something like your awk command. You can use something like scd stream editor command and all. Okay, so basically the command should be of filter category. Now coming to the record options, again everything got repeated. Here character set is ASCII. Record delimiter is @. At the end, I am actually putting @ symbol, not the new line character and all. I am using @ symbol. It's my wish. I am going to put whatever I want, something like that. Fine.
Okay.
If I want, I can use Unix new line or null. Okay. And from the decimal end, rounding, I have used nearest value and separator as project default. These all things are repeated once again. And coming to the record section, what I'm going to write, I have selected here as single record type. So here everything is disabled. I was able to see only 4 columns here, and I have mentioned it in this format. Fine. Layout, directly one record type, so I have got this layout. This is the schema being represented in orchestrate format. This is just schema only. Just see, if you observe the format also, record, and all the column names under the data type. It is directly the record represented in my parallel format, that is orchestrate format. Okay, you can actually copy it and paste it in the notepad, and you can use it as a schema file. And if you want to see it in COBOL, you can see it in the COBOL format. Okay. This national language support and all we will see in the later classes. And now coming to the input, you are having columns type again. This means now you are going to write it, right? Now this input is actually going to read the data from the sequential file. It converts it into output format. Why? Because it is going to here outputs are I haven't mentioned any outputs. Say rejects are there, then it should have say if you are having other than rejects, it might have got one more output where you can output the data. Now I'm just creating the file. That's it. I'm not going to output it into any stage, but you can actually output the data also. Okay. Now coming to the input, these columns are used to create a particular file. What is the name of the file? This is the name of the file that I'm going to create. Okay. I'm not going to output it to any other stage. I'm just creating the file. That's it. Here I have mentioned one reject link, so I was able to see in the outputs category one reject link. Fine. Here in the columns tab, I was able to see all the columns related to that particular single record type. That's it. No other options are being available here. Okay. Clear? Any doubts on this particular CFF, right, in any tab?
No, I think it's good.
You are clear on this particular part, right? In write, you don't get any even single extra other than this particular in the stage section, in the file, sorry, in the general, sorry, not in the general section. Where is that one? I have shown you some settings, right? That got changed. Where are those settings? In the stage, the file options, sorry. In the file options, you are getting this write option and clean up on failure and filter. And other than these three, you don't get even a single thing extra in overall this particular stage. Your CFF, when you use it in the source, then only you will get more options compared to write using it in the target. The only extra things that you get when you use in the target are write option, clean up on failure and filter, and in the file type you are not allowed to use file pattern and source list and source. Anyway, source and source list from the name itself it is clear, like it won't come, but file pattern also won't come.
Okay.
That is what about your this thing. I will just run this one and I will wind up this complex flat file, right?
Okay.
Daily before the class starts, right, you just ping Basu once. Sometimes they might miss and they will just say sorry. So it's better you just ping them once so that they will make sure they are going to record it.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yes, I think this will work, and then we will go to external source and external target. See, the purpose of having external source and external target is something like, let us say there is one new database came into market called RAM. I myself created a database. Okay, 1 second. This is the file that got created. See output CFF underscore output.txt. It is in overwrite mode. See, I have used the record delimiter as @ symbol. So if I have used new line symbol, it would be something like in this way.
Come down, yeah.
Okay, I have used @ symbol, so I have got in this format. Fine.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that is how your CFF output.txt looks like. And coming to this, where is this external source and external target? This one I am going to give you a theoretical concept. Why? Because no practical stuff can be shown here. Why? Because I require a program for running this particular external source and external target. I will explain you the properties. Generally, you will not come across this thing. If you come across, you should know the properties. That's why I will explain it. Coming to the external source and the external target, let us say I have introduced one new database myself called RAM. Okay, and I am having very advanced features compared to Oracle or Teradata. So what you do, I will advertise this in a very huge way in the papers and all. So you are, let us say you are a big company. So what you will do, you understand my features, and you will ask me, you will call me back saying that Ram, the features that you are providing is very good, and I want to take your database. You will be saying, but I will give you a good hiccup saying that sorry sir, I understand your what is a requirement, but at this moment I can't provide you this particular database. Why? Because I don't have proper GUI being developed. I have got only programmatical access. Programmatical access in the sense how you are going to insert, delete records into a particular Oracle table. You can use SQL Plus or ISQL Plus, right?
Yeah.
When you use ISQL Plus, you will get a nice GUI, white color pane. You can directly type in and you can execute. Click on execute, it is going to execute it for you, right? So that is the GUI approach that you have got to insert or delete or do some SQL operations on the Oracle tables. If you wanted to do it in the command prompt, you can directly in the run, you just click on SQL Plus, a small black color window will come. There you can actually log into your schemas and you can operate on the tables, right?
Yeah.
So those are all the various UIs that the respective companies has provided in order to interact with their systems. Similarly, I have created a particular UI which is not at all being developed in a proper way. I am not giving you any what we say UI kind of stuff. Okay, I will ask you, I will give you one plugin. Boss, I will give you one plugin. Please use that plugin. That is nothing but a source program. You can access that source program, give parameters to it. It will take care of all the, see, let us say in my particular RAM database there is employee table, and now you want to read that particular employee table. So what you need to do, I will give my source program, and for that source program you need to give the table name, say employee. So what I will do, I will take that input through my program, I will read the employee table and I will give it back to you. Okay, that is how here operation proceeds. So tomorrow some new database comes into picture and they gave you the interactive medium as a program. Use that program to read the data from that particular database. That is what the example. I gave an example from database end. It is not restricted to database. Any program, any sort of program you can call it.
Okay.
Okay, you are able to follow me a scenario where I can use this external source.
Yeah.
Okay, let us say this is not about database. Say some program is there. Okay, you need to call that particular program. Like you need to pass some parameters to that particular program and get some output, and that output should be read into a particular column. How can you do that? So this is the way you can do it. Go to the external source. External source, when you are using it in the source, that means it is going to read something from a database or from some program, right? So here there are two ways: specific method, that is specific programs, and program files. Okay, specific program means I need to mention, when I use this specific program, I will be asked to mention what is the specific program. Okay, I need to give the complete path. Let us say on my desktop it is there, I need to browse for that particular file. Sorry, insert job parameters. Through job parameters I can actually, in the job parameter I will give the complete path and the name of that particular program, and it calls that particular program. Now I don't have a particular program directly, that exe I don't have. So what I can do, I can use the program files. Here it actually expects me to give a file. If you open that file, you should have the programs defined inside it. You are able to follow me, right? I told you in complex flat file, in the file pattern there should be a file. If you open that file, you should have the list of files, right? Similarly here, if I use source program file, that should be a .txt file. If you open, you will see lot of programs with the code being mentioned inside it. Fine, you are able to follow me?
Yeah.
Any doubts in these particular properties?
No.
You are actually so hesitantly speaking.
No.
You are clear, right? Understand the
Yeah,
property. When you use program files, I can actually mention direct exe file name, exe program file name. If I use file, this particular file specific, sorry, when I use specific programs, I can use particular exe name directly. If I use program files, I can mention the file name. If I open that file, I can actually see all the programs being placed there. And here, while reading, I can actually keep the file partitions, and the reject links also being supported. Columns tab, you can actually mention what is output from that particular program. When I'm using at the target, what is the meaning that when I'm using at the target? That means I am writing back to a particular program. Now, like if I want to, in the database example, if I want to update a particular employee table of department, of employee number equal to 3, the name I should update. Earlier the name was Ram, now I want to update it to Rama Narayana. In that case, I want to update the employee table, right? So updation operation means you are trying to update into the target. So you need to use this external target stage, give that particular program which actually updates the employee table. Okay, here the destination program, if I am selecting the specific program, I need to mention the exact exe program name, so that give the arguments also. It picks that argument and it updates my name. Okay, if you are going to mention again the same properties here, nothing extra would come, like you need to either mention the file so that the file will be having all the programs. And coming to the options, you have got either you can write that particular data into the target. That options, when I am updating, I am having some columns, right, to update into the target. So the schema file, you need to read the data, or you can actually type it here in the columns tab. Reject mode, reject links, about the reject links.
Can this actually in turn trigger an external program like?
Yes. That is the purpose of having this external target. The programs which are not being supported by us currently, okay, see all the database stages are being mentioned here. Let us say that new database came, you can't actually use any of these stages. Okay, so in that case they will be interacting through external programs. That is what the purpose of your external source and external target.
Okay.
Clear?
Yep.
So we are done with your file stages. Now we want to proceed to your database stages.
Okay.
So coming to the database section, as I told you, there is no need for you to know each and every database. Okay, if you know one ODBC enterprise and ODBC connector, that is a generic ODBC enterprise and generic connector. You can connect to any database and any through enterprise edition and connector version. And know at least two, like Oracle and DB2. I will be explaining in my example. Okay, I will be using Oracle Enterprise and Oracle Connector and DB2 Enterprise and DB2 API. I am skipping here connectors. Why? Because I have already explained you the ODBC connector. Now, after seeing these four, you can go and see any of the connectors or any of the things other than Teradata. Remember, other than Teradata. Why? Because Teradata UI itself will be very much difficult and very much different. Okay, Teradata will be coming with three different operations, three different loader techniques. So based on each technique, it is going to have three different implementations. Now, other than that, if you see all the other stages, okay, all will be having the same settings. Everything will be repeated in the same way. Naming convention might be changed. Even ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector, both are having the same settings, but only the naming conventions and the UI changes, nothing more than that. Okay, so I will be covering in my session ODBC Enterprise, ODBC Connector, Oracle Enterprise, DB2 Enterprise and DB2 API. Here DB2 API is something different. By default it operates in sequential mode. Okay, this is outdated thing, but just wanted to show you from the theoretical end. I will be showing practically ODBC Enterprise, Oracle Enterprise, ODBC Connector. This VMware has got some problem with the installation, so I can't run it, but the same settings, if you simulate it in your environment, it will run. Okay. All the settings will run in your environment, in your VMware. This VMware is having some problem. Coming to DB2 Enterprise, DB2 Read, you can easily get it into running stage. I will be explaining you the properties, these two. Okay, I will be clicking the run button for Oracle Enterprise and ODBC Enterprise. ODBC Connector, you just look into these settings and you can put the same settings in your VMware and just click on the run button. The DB2 API and all, I will give you theoretical stuff. So that if you open any of the other databases, you can easily find out like all the settings would be the same. Just to give that particular database's specific connection settings, that's it. You are able to follow me?
Yeah.
You don't have any doubts in the going to be discussed, right?
No.
So before starting this session, there are some crucial differences between Enterprise Edition and the Connector Editions. So when we speak about Enterprise, what is the difference between ODBC and Oracle? What is the difference between ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector? These are the two different things that we should speak about now. Okay. What is the difference between, from the name, what is the difference between ODBC and Oracle? Which one would be better and what would be the drawbacks? Generally think randomly, like what would, from the name, I told you like ODBC also can connect to Oracle, Oracle also can connect to Oracle. Then what is the purpose of having two different things? What benefit you are going to get?
ODBC can connect to other databases as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Then?
I'm not able to think about any other benefits.
So ODBC performance wise, Oracle will be faster compared to ODBC. Why? Because ODBC use open database connectivity plugin. Okay, it is an intermediate plugin between the original plugin of the stages or the original plugin of the target databases and your data stage. It is an intermediate plugin. So additional overhead would be involved to communicate with the target database. Okay, So operational wise it is poor, whereas Oracle, it operates by using native plugin. That means it directly uses Oracle plugin. No intermediate plugins would be used. Okay, so when you look into performance wise, your Oracle would give much good performance compared to your ODBC. And coming to ODBC, it is not version dependent. Like tomorrow, if Oracle Fusion gets introduced into the market, you can connect it to Oracle Fusion as well. Whereas current Oracle version cannot be used to connect to Oracle Fusion. The reason being, in this particular implementation, the latest version in the market is, let us say, Oracle 11G. Okay, only up to that extent, up to that version only your Oracle stage can connect. If something new comes from Oracle, it will not connect. Why? Because these Oracle stages are version dependent. Okay, and as you told, ODBC can connect to multiple databases, whereas Oracle can connect to only one database, that is Oracle. What is the major difference? Oracle gives you good performance and it is version dependent. ODBC gives you poor performance and it is independent of the versions. It can connect to any Oracle version. And Oracle can connect only to Oracle database. ODBC can connect to multiple databases. Yeah, and Oracle doesn't support reject at the source, but supports rejects at the target. When you use Oracle stage at the source, that means when you are trying to read something from the source, Oracle will not support the rejects. Whereas it supports rejects at the target. That means while you are writing something back into Oracle database, okay, there you can actually support the rejects. Whereas ODBC, right, it supports rejects both at the source as well as at the target. You are able to follow me? When I say reject, that means reject link.
Yeah.
Clear? No doubts, right?
No, it's clear.
I think it's better to note down these differences. Oracle, just put some heading like Oracle and ODBC. And inside in that Oracle, just write down only for Oracle you write down, for the other you no need to write down. Why? Because it would be vice versa, right? For Oracle, it is good performer. Okay, it is version dependent. It reads only from specific database, and it supports rejects only in the target.
Okay.
These are the 4 things, and eventually you can write it in the ODBC like it is poor performer, it is independent of versions, it supports multiple databases reading and writing, and it supports rejects in both the source as well as in the target.
Connects only to Oracle. It rejects, does not support reject at the source, right?
Yeah. So Oracle will not support rejects at the source, whereas ODBC support rejects in both source as well as in the target.
Okay.
You are clear differences between Oracle stages and the ODBC stages?
Yes.
In real world, you will use only Oracle, ODBC and DB2. Some places you will use SQL Server. That's it. So mostly, if you know these 4 UIs, you are done. Okay. All the others, if you may come across Natiza or IWay, those are very rare, and the settings will be similar to what I am teaching now from this particular end. Naming conventions might change.
Okay.
Okay. Coming to the next differences between ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector. So how can you, what is the basic difference that you, just think about randomly, like you gave me some good example like this can connect to multiple devices. Similarly for ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector, what you can think of, what might be the difference?
Enterprise and Connector. I have no clue about that.
No problem. See, ODBC Enterprise, I told you it will be using an intermediate plugin called ODBC. Okay, Open Database Connectivity is a program internally that is, see, eventually all the plugins, whatever I speak, eventually it would be lines of code only, right? So it is using ODBC code for connecting with the target database. It acts as an intermediate code to connect to the target databases. So again, it needs to connect to one more plugin from Oracle end. Let us say if ODBC is connecting Oracle database, your ODBC connects to Oracle database, and then it is going to do the operations. Whereas ODBC connector, here from the name it is clear like ODBC connector. So it is not having any native data type. Again, don't think like Oracle, it is having some native plugin. No, it is not having native plugin, but internal API like ODBC, it is using ODBC, right? Similarly, ODBC connector will be using some API to connect to the target, right? That is called as CLI. Okay, CLI, common language interface. One second, what is that? CLI. Common. One second, someone is calling. One second.
Okay.
Chimposwa? Yeah. What permission? Just muting it. One second.
Hello, Nita? Hello, Nita? Hello? Hi, Nita?
Hi, Ram.
Nita, actually, I just spoke with Basava.
Okay.
You have got your software installed in your machine, right?
Yeah, Ram, your voice is so very feeble.
Once again, the problem came.
Yeah, I am not able to hear you.
One second.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Now what I meant to say is I just spoke with Basava. What is he saying? Actually, previous batch which I have dealt, one of the person is facing some issue, like from the installation end. Yesterday, that lady has contacted me for some help. So when I logged in, I was able to see that her installation was not successful. She was able to log into the designer, she was able to design something, and she was able to compile it, and she was able to run it. But if she places transformer processing stage inside the design, she was not able to compile it. The reason being, some of the library files are missing. So today, can you do me a favor, like after this session, right, you just open the designer, just put one sequential file or some data set, and just type one column and drag it to one transformer. Just in the transformer also, transformer is a processing stage. You can see the transformer name, some red color symbol would be there, some plus symbol. Just put it there and drag it to the what is a data set, and if you compile, if you also get the same issue, so your installation is also gone. You are able to follow me, right? So you also need to get it reinstalled.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can confirm that yours is also having some problem with the compilation, so you also need to get it installed, and I will inform them to reinstall the software, or they want to get some new installable itself. Like if there is, if you are not able to compile, that means the installable that they are having is having some issue. So they need to download some new version and they have to do it. Fine, you just check it out today and just let Basu know so that he will inform that particular person also, earlier person.
Okay.
Sure. And coming to this, yeah.
What is that I have to do? I have to just create a sequential file?
Or else just give me access to your system. I will just...
I'm just logging in. Probably once I log in.
Okay. Yeah, you just click on login. Once it is login, you just let me know. By the time we will continue with the class. Okay. And coming to this, one more differences between ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector. The difference between ODBC Enterprise is ODBC Enterprise will be using ODBC, whereas this particular ODBC Connector will be using CLI interface. Okay, connector. This particular connector is enhanced from version to version. Now it is using CLI 2 interface. Okay, that interface will act like a fast accessor. Like it compared to ODBC plugin, it will act much faster. It actually reads data and writes data a bit faster compared to your general ODBC plugin. That is the advantage. So ODBC connector gives you good performance compared to your ODBC Enterprise. Fine.
Okay.
And one more difference is, you know the concepts of data source names. What is that?
Data source names as in for the
DSNs.
We configure each DSN whenever we create a new database, right?
Yes. How do you know that? Where have you seen it?
I've configured it only for MS Access. I've not done it for Oracle or anything else.
Yes, exactly. So when you have configured it for MS Access, what are all the settings that you have gained? First, you have gone to control panel. In that, administrative tools. In that, you have gone to ODBC. In that, you have created system DSN, right?
Yeah.
In the system DSN, you have selected the appropriate plugin given by your operating system, say Oracle plugin or MS Access or SQL Server plugin.
Yeah.
And you have selected it. You have created. You have given the user ID password to test the connection, and you have saved it as DSN. That means it doesn't have anything more than that, your schema name, your username and password, and the Oracle plugin with connectivity info. Right? This complete stuff bundled together, you can call it as a DSN, data source name.
Okay.
So in ODBC Enterprise, you don't have a way to list the DSNs. If you want to see what are all the DSNs being configured in your system, there is no way that you can see it. In ODBC Enterprise, you have to go to control panel and you have to see it. Whereas ODBC connector gives you flexibility to see it from the stage itself. What are all the DSNs that are there? You can even test the DSNs in the ODBC connector. Whereas ODBC Enterprise, you don't even see the DSNs. So there's no option of testing the DSNs.
Okay.
And the major difference is ODBC Enterprise reads sequentially and writes parallelly.
Okay.
ODBC Enterprise, when you use it in the source, it reads parallelly.
Okay, and writes parallelly.
Yes. Whereas ODBC connector reads as well as writes parallelly.
Okay.
Okay. And coming to schema reconciliation, there is a concept called schema reconciliation. Let us say in the database you are having the type as one of the column type as date. Remember one thing, especially with Oracle, when you are trying to insert data into Oracle, use the format of date. Okay, when you are trying to insert something into Oracle database, use the column type as date, so that while writing it into target database, it converts the date into timestamp and it loads it.
Okay.
That is the default format, timestamp. Oracle never stores data in date format; it stores timestamp format. Okay, never stores in a sense. Ideally, it converts whatever you are giving into timestamp format and it stores it. Okay, when you are using date column type, right? When you try to view, it gives you only the date part, but internally it stores in timestamp format. No, so what the setting that you wanted to do while reading the data from the Oracle database with data type as date means use timestamp as the column type when you are trying to read something from your Oracle database. You are able to follow me what I told just now?
No, can you come again?
While inserting data into Oracle, use date format.
Yeah, that's fine.
While reading, use timestamp format. Why I'm asking you to read it in timestamp format is internally how database stores it, how Oracle stores it is, it stores in timestamp format.
Yeah.
So Oracle stays sometimes when you try to read, sometimes only, it depends on the environment. That is why as a precautionary measure I am asking you to read it in timestamp format. So while reading, use the timestamp format. Sometimes when you use date, it might throw you an error saying that incompatible data types. And it gives you sometimes warnings as well, saying that it depends on the environment. Okay, sometimes it gives you warnings, sometimes it gives you error, sometimes it won't throw you anything, it just comes out. So in order to avoid these things, while reading from Oracle database, especially Oracle, others I am not telling you, from Oracle, use timestamp as the default format to read the date data type. Okay, so if the mismatches are there, how it would be? It would thrown up as a warning saying that date would be truncated, date would be something like that. It would give you some warnings. So it is called a schema reconciliation. Schema reconciliation means if there is any mismatches between the data types, it handles it by default. Let us say integer is being loaded into some float or some decimal. So there is a data type mismatch. So automatically it should handle it. It should not throw you a warning in the directory saying that there is a kind of type mismatch and it is going to create some problems. Okay. If schema reconciliation is there, it gives you reconciliation features from the size perspective, from the data type perspective as well. So if there is any mismatch in the sizes also, it is going to handle it by default, schema reconciliation. If there are any mismatches from data type as well, it is going to handle the type mismatch also, the schema reconciliation. The schema reconciliation feature is there in ODBC connector, whereas in ODBC Enterprise you don't have that schema reconciliation. So if there is any data type mismatch in ODBC Enterprise, it throws you, based on the type mismatch, it throws you an error or warning. Whereas in ODBC connector, internally it handles the data type mismatches.
Okay.
If you are writing from integer to float, it uses internally that conversion function, ODBC connector, whereas this thing will throw you a warning or an error, ODBC Enterprise.
Okay.
So the schema reconciliation can also be controlled. Like it gives you that feature of schema reconciliation and also it allows you to control also this ODBC connector. We will see once we get into that section. Fine. So this is about theory. You are done with the theory from your ODBC Enterprise, ODBC connector, Oracle and ODBC. Fine. Have you got any doubts in this particular theory?
No,
so this is applicable to any version also. It is applicable to any connector also. If somebody asks you what is the difference between Oracle connector and ODBC connector, then add only one extra thing. Say Oracle connector and ODBC connector, they are different just by the plugin that they are going to use. Oracle connector will use Oracle specific native plugin, and in combination it will be using API as CLI API. Whereas in ODBC connector you will be using CLI API, but it will not have a native plugin to connect. That is the only difference. When somebody asks you what is the difference between ODBC Enterprise and ODBC Connector, tell them what are the things that you have noted down.
Okay.
When you say any
noted down.
database name, when you hear any database name, remember that it is using native database plugin. That is the only thing.
Okay.
Okay. When you come across ODBC, that is using ODBC plugin. Okay, that is the only difference. Connector means it is having advanced API being used to connect or to interface with the target database. That's it. Connector means it will give you some more performance. That's it. And connectors and all came into picture only from 8.0.1. Earlier, no connectors were there.
Okay.
Fine.
Yep.
Clear about how this thing can be. Sorry, from the theoretical end, right? Can we proceed into ODBC Enterprise? We will read ODBC we will see ODBC Enterprise and we will stop it for today.
Okay.
Now coming to the ODBC Enterprise, okay, I am going to show you what are all the settings that we have in the ODBC Enterprise read end. I am trying to see the settings that you can place it here are read method. This is the major thing here. Based on this, the above queries are dependent. If I change user defined SQL or auto generated or SQL builder generated or table. 1 second. Someone else again is calling. 1 second. Ha Sai. Cheppu ba. Hanita. Hello. Hello, Nita.
Hi, Ram. Yeah, I'm
so
here.
read method are different categories here. Auto generated SQL, SQL builder generated SQL. From the name itself, it is clear, right? Auto generated SQL means, okay, you are just going to mention the table name, say employee table name. It will automatically replace that particular employee name here, this particular table, and it is going to create a query for you. By using all the columns that you have mentioned in the columns tab here. Based on these columns tab, it is going to write the columns. Based on this particular column type, it is going to write this particular query. It uses the table name that I have mentioned here, and it uses the column names that I have mentioned here, and it writes automatically the query.
Okay.
Okay, you understood, right?
Yeah.
How auto-generated works. It uses the table name that I have mentioned here, and it uses the columns that I have mentioned here, and it will perform this particular auto-generated SQL. Now, the simple trick is, now generally speaking, when we are going to write queries, we actually move from auto-generated to user-defined. The reason being, auto-generated will actually select all the columns. So it would make our life easier. Directly go to SQL builder, user-defined SQL, and you see this whatever is being created out of auto-generated is still there. So if I want to remove some of the columns, I can easily remove. If instead of this, if you want to type all the column names, it is really difficult. So from developers in the small trick is first give the settings as user defined, auto generated, and then change it to user defined. A complete query would be there. You can just delete whatever you don't want, and you can remodify the query. Once you select this user defined SQLC, you can actually write your own query. Remember, if somebody asks you a question like, can I access data from 2 or 3 tables at a time? Yes, you can do it. Now, as it is user-defined SQL, you can actually write the joins as well here. From employee, department, write where class, where the employee num equal to, department number is equal to employee table dot department num equal to dep num equal to dept dot dep num. So that means you are reading data from 2 different tables, right? Department table and employee table at a time. So using user-defined SQL, okay, or whatever may be the way, you can actually read data from multiple tables. That is what the meaning of your user-defined SQL. Coming to the SQL builder generated SQL, okay. Now some people are not good at writing the syntaxes of SQL. So for them, what they have done, they have generated this SQL builder, what is a query, and here if you see build SQL, you are having 3 options here. When you look at 3 options, don't think like 3 different UIs will come. All the 3 relates to one single UI, but 3 different versions relates to 3 different libraries which are being used by that UI. Okay. Minimum syntax means it will give you minimum syntax. Core syntax means it will give you only the basic SQL, and extended syntax means it will give some more extra features. That's it. So internally, what library is going to be used will be decided by this. But UI, if you click on all the 3, you will get the same UI. That is called as that your SQL builder UI. That UI looks in this way. Okay, see, this is the UI. So you are seeing here the table definitions, right? Okay, so I am able to drag this particular department table onto this tables area, and once I have got this particular table area, see, I can actually write this particular data here. Neeta, are you there?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is how you can actually write this particular query. See, I am selecting the columns. That means I am preparing the select list here. Okay, I want both the department number and department name, and I want to write a condition like my department number should be greater than or equal to some 200. I want all the records which is having department number greater than or equal to 200. So when I click on add, see, I have got this particular department number equal to department number. The condition came here. Okay. and go to SQL. See, you are able to see the complete SQL. Select department, department number, department name from department as depth, where department number is greater than or equal to 200. Fine.
Okay.
It has got automatically generated for me, right, from the UI. What I have done, I have just dragged the table definition. I have selected those columns and I dragged here, and I have written the condition. Okay. Here you can write something like group by. Okay, and you can actually write the having. When you select this group by, see, aggregation operator came here. You can either select distinct group by. If you want to group by on department number, you can do it. Okay. If you want to, once you apply group by, there is a class called having, right? Having is meant for recalculation, right? Okay. If let us say you are grouping by on department number, so department number, let us say 200 is coming. You want to control even after group by, you can have to use having class. So you can mention that thing here. Fine. Hello?
Yeah.
So you are able
I
to
was just
follow
looking into that. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So by using
this looks pretty easy.
Pretty easy. So coming to this SQL, whatever you do there, those things will be shown up here. Fine. This is what the SQL Builder's UI. Okay. Once you develop there, once you click on OK, that query would be shown up here in the query section. Okay, fine. And going to the last one, which is your table mode of reading. So I don't have the queries. I am not going to read the queries and all. Now I am going to read, okay, the table mode. So in this table mode, if you observe, only one table can be read. No multiple tables are allowed. Okay. In that single table, you can either have select list. You can have select list as well as your where list. You can write complete query here. You can select. You can mention what are all the columns that you want to write. Like if you are going to give the table name as EMP. If you want to access the columns of EMP number and EMP name, just give like EMP number comma EMP name. Okay, and you write in the where class like something like employee number greater than 20. That's it. Done. You can actually create internally it will be creating a query out of these particular settings, and it will run the and it will retrieve the data for you. It is something like select employee number comma employee name from EMP where employee number greater than 20. Okay. Fine. That is how your this table mode works, like read method equal to table. So what are all the read methods you can have? You can have table. When you use table, the dependent properties are table name, a select list, and where class. When you use user defined SQL, it allows you to write your own SQL, and you can retrieve data from multiple tables as well. So all sorts of joins and all can be implemented here. Unions, joins, whatever generic SQLs you write, everything can be implemented here in the user defined SQL. Okay, in the SQL Builder generated SQL, it is a new interface that has been introduced from 8.0.1. Okay, that has been introduced from that version, and it helps people to write queries from the graphical user end. And auto-generated SQL is something like if you mention the table name, it is going on columns tab, whatever data you have mentioned in the columns tab, it will use the column names and the table name that you are going to mention. It builds automatically the query. You are able to understand various read methods, right? You are clear about all the read methods?
Yeah.
Coming to the connection, here you need to mention where to connect, right? So this is your data source name. I have created already Oracle data source. So here I am mentioning this is the data source, DSN name. Oracle means. I have created already the DSN called Oracle. So I have given the DSN name here. I am giving the password here, and I am giving the username here. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Coming to the option section, there are a lot of things that you need to understand here. Now coming to this close command and open command, these are very much important. Now let us say you are trying to read something from a database, and now before reading, okay, there let us say you are from ETL team and there is a reporting team also accessing a same table. So generally speaking, when you try to access tables parallelly, you can access parallelly, but sometimes it hits the performance, it slows down the network. Because everything should be processed through network only, right? It allows to read parallelly, but eventually if multiple people are reading the same table, it might, what we say, slow down the network, and you might see some performance issues. So what you have to do, there would be generally in companies what they will do, they will create a dummy table. Okay, before reading something, what they will do, they will place an entry in the dummy table saying that now this particular team is reading the table, please wait for some time. Okay, they will create one dummy table, they will insert a record into the dummy table saying that this current table is being read by ETL team. Please don't touch table for the duration. Once I am done, I will remove this entry so that you can acquire this particular, so that you make an entry in the dummy table and you start the reading. It's a mutual agreement or contract. Fine, you are able to follow me?
Yeah.
So how can you write that command in the open command section? Write that command directly. Insert into some dummy table.
Okay.
So what it happens, right? Insert into dummy values. Write this particular value. Say 1, ETL. Okay. So this thing will be executed before your reading starts. Open command will get executed before your core functionality of the stage starts. So first open command would be executed. So it places an entry into dummy table with values 1 with the name ETL, and then it starts reading the data. After the reading happens, you need to remove it, right? You need to remove this control, right? Okay. Go to delete this particular close command. That means once the complete reading has been done, you can actually truncate the table.
Okay.
Truncate dummy. That's it. Syntax is wrong or what? Truncate table
Truncate
dummy.
Table dummy.
Yes. So that is how you need to write the close command and the open command. Fine. So you understood the importance of the open command and closed command?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what about your open command and closed command. And coming to the fetch array size. See, fetch array size is different from your commit interval. Remember, you know the meaning of commit interval, right?
Yeah.
Commit interval means commit can be executed in 2 different ways, either from the time frame or from the record count. Like if you want to, you can't actually what we say commit for each and every record, it will hit the performance. So how in real world it proceeds, like they will issue a commit for every 1 lakh rows. That would be heavy, but generally people will prefer for 10,000 rows. Okay,
Yeah,
but
we usually write the code for 10,000 rows.
So if you are going to write the code for 10,000 rows, that means if for every 10,000 inserts or updates or 10,000 transactions, you are going to hit 1 commit. Similarly, you can also write it from the time frame end. So whatever changes you do or you don't do, it doesn't bother, but it issues a commit for every 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And generally speaking, both will be used, what we say, in parallel. Like which one comes first, they will try to do that one. Like if time frame hits first, it will hit a commit. Or sometimes if 10,000 comes first, they will hit the commit. So it would be going in parallel in some cases. Now, while that commit is different from your fetch array size. Here, fetch array size is something like, now you are using this particular ODBC enterprise read. Now that means it is reading something from the database. So internally, how it is going to read, some buffer space should be allocated, right? From our data stage end also, some buffer space should be given so that it accommodates the input records. Whatever data is being read from the database, it should be placed into some temporary space and it should move in the links, right? That fetch array size determines the buffer that you are going to determine for each and every block. So now data would be picked in terms of blocks. So for example, if you give fetch array size as 1000, okay, every block would be consisting of 1000 records. While reading internally, it actually accommodates 1000 records as 1 block. You are able to follow me?
Yeah.
You understood the meaning of fetch array size?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It internally speaking, how it uses it, right? While reading, in order to increase the performance, you can use this row num, right? Row num less than 1000 if you use. See, generally speaking, select star from some huge table if you hit, okay, to get the initial snapshot itself, it takes some 10 minutes sometimes. So, but for your testing, you can't wait for 10 minutes for each and every hit. So what you do, you write that command at the end, you write where row num less than 100. So what it does, initial snapshot will be retrieved within 2 minutes or 1 minute itself. Why? Because it won't bother about how many records are there. It will not gather that one. First 100 it will pick and it will throw it to you. So row num actually increases the performance. Similarly, if you are going to fetch array size equal to 1, it is going to dissect that particular read operation into block wise. So it would be a bit faster. So remember that fetch array size is something like read operation will try to get data in terms of blocks. That's it.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Now coming to isolation level, this is important and this gets shown up in different formats in different versions. If you see in DB2 API, there would be naming conventions different, but eventually the internal operations are the same. I just can't remember this isolation level every time, so I have written it in a what we say notepad. I will be explaining seeing that notepad, and before that we will complete this. partition column. Okay. Now, if I'm going to use some partitions, let us say, okay, for partition to happen, I wanted to mention the column name. While reading itself, you know that partition concept, right? While creating the table itself, you can actually create partitions inside the table also. Let us say employee table is there, you can actually read that employee table based on a particular partition as well. Okay. While for performance and what they will do while creating the table, they will not just write like create table and they will not just mention the column names. Okay, it will not work out in the real world. Why? Because it will be holding crores and crores of records. So how they will write create table employee, okay, column names they would mention, and then they will write like create partition inside it. They will write like create partition syntax would be there. Okay, they will actually create the table partition wise also internally. Okay, now if you want to read a particular partition column, okay, you can also mention the column name here. Okay.
Okay.
Coming to the isolation level, see what are all the settings that you can see isolation level. I think you might be aware of these things, right? Read committed, read uncommitted, repeatable, read serializable. You are aware of these settings?
Yeah. Isolation level. What does isolation level do?
That's what you got any knowledge regarding this read committed, read uncommitted, repeatable read and serializable?
Not really. Read uncommitted. I've used
from the name itself, it is a bit clear, right?
Yeah.
If two transactions are happening parallelly, let us say you are accessing and I am also accessing. If you change any settings, if you change any data, and if once again if I should select, I would be able to see your data. Even though you haven't committed. Generally speaking, until and unless you commit, I shouldn't be able to see the data. But in this read uncommitted mode, if somebody has made changes, I will just be able to see it. Even though those again he may make the changes, it is not finalized. Even then I will be able to see the data, even if he haven't issued the commit. If I use read committed, that means read only the committed data.
Okay.
Okay. I will just recap it from the notepad. It is a bit confusing even for me. Okay. Why? Because these four will be repeated in a different way in the DB2 API. Have I placed it somewhere? No. Yeah. So what are the names that we have seen in this particular ODBC enterprise? Read uncommitted, read committed, a repeatable read, and serializable. Similarly, in DB2 API, okay, in the earlier versions, like in server jobs and all also, this isolation level is there. But there, the names are, see, uncommitted read, okay, cursor stability, read stability, and repeatable read. And remember, uncommitted read is equivalent to your uncommitted changes. Okay, what is this? Read uncommitted, yeah. Your uncommitted read is equivalent to read uncommitted. Fine. Your cursor stability is equivalent to your read committed. Your read stability is equivalent to your repeatable read. And repeatable read here not equivalent to again here repeatable read. It is equivalent to your serializable.
Okay.
Here repeatable read is there. Here also repeatable read is there. But don't think like these two are same. Here repeatable read is different. Here repeatable read is different. Here repeatable read is comparable with your serializable. It's confusing, right?
Yeah.
So for the time being, you remember these four: read uncommitted, read committed, repeatable read, and serializable. When we come to DP2 API, again you will see cursor stability, read stability, repeatable read. Just remember these four are same as these four. Just the naming conventions got changed. That's it. If you understand these four, you have understand these four. Just remember the names. That's it. Equivalent names. So here read uncommitted would be uncommitted read here. Your cursor stability here would be your read committed here. Read stability means here repeatable read. Serializable here equivalent to what we say repeatable read. Fine. Confused?
Yeah.
This one will be a bit confusing actually, but remember the names, understand the concept and remember the names. Now coming to the read uncommitted, see the row that is read during a unit of work or transaction can be changed by other transaction. That is true. Okay, while you are doing while I am reading something, you can actually change that whatever I am reading right in the background. Okay, rows that are changed by you, can I see it during my transaction? Generally speaking, no. But if you use a read uncommitted, if I issue once again select,
you should be able to see that.
Yeah. Okay. Rows that are changed by other transactions can also be read, even if the change is not yet committed by the transaction. Fine. Coming to read committed, I can read only if the other transaction commits that particular transaction. However, a row that is changed by another transaction cannot be read until it is committed by the transaction.
Okay, that's fine. That is clear.
Yeah. Now coming to repeatable read, see the row that is read during a unit of work is not changed until the unit of work is complete. Let us say I am reading something. Okay, you will not allowed to change that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of locked.
Yes, it's kind of locked. Now let us say I am not reading something. Now you are trying to change something. While you are trying to change, it even not allows me to read.
Yeah.
It is exclusive lock. Okay. Generally, select should give you shareable lock, right? And update operation should give you exclusive lock. While you are updating something, I cannot update the same thing, but I can read it.
Yeah.
Here, repeatable read is even not allowing that shared lock itself. If you are updating something, it even not allows me to read something.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Coming to serializable, the row that is read are changed. Now whether I am reading or changing cannot be read or changed until the row is committed by the transaction that is reading or changing the row.
Changing the row. Yeah, that's fine. Also, yeah, fine.
Now these 4 are equivalent to above 4.
Okay.
Just see the names here. Why? Because you will shortly come across these names again.
Yeah.
You just
now
compare
that's a bit clear. Uncommitted read. Yeah. Repeatable read. Cursor stability, read stability. Yeah. Now that looks better.
Okay. Okay. Fine. These are the isolation levels. You are able to follow those, right?
Yeah.
Clear? No doubts from any of the properties that you have seen so far in the ODBC enterprise read, right?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Coming to ODBC enterprise in the target end. Now I want to show you when we use this ODBC enterprise at the target, how it behaves.
Ram, can we continue that tomorrow?
Yeah, fine, no problem.
Okay, and meanwhile, I would like to show you my screen. How do I share my screen?
And one more thing, Neeta, actually speaking, our release was a bit success. So actually our client asked us to take to some, some location. Okay. Generally, actually I am thinking not to go, but if some pressure comes, I may need to go to that location tomorrow as well as day after tomorrow. 99% there are no chances. 1% chances are there to go. If I go, I will inform.
No problem. You can go and enjoy.
Yeah. If I will inform to Basu regarding that earlier. Don't wait for me. Once I'm back, right, I will cover those classes by taking the extra hours. Right?
Yeah, that should be fine.
And coming to now, you want to show me your screen, right? Just show me your screen.
How do I share my screen?
Yeah, I am making you the presenter now.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
You see the error? Or I'm not sure if it's something wrong.
This is the error.
Okay.
Go click on more. Click on more. Just browse a bit down. Just enlarge the view. I was not able to see the complete error. This is the error that you are getting. So their installable is having some problem actually. You haven't done anything in the transform, right? Just click on OK.
No.
You have just drag drop the columns. That's it, right?
Yeah. I just created a column. I just dragged it and clicked on OK. That's all.
So there is a problem with the transformer. So they are missing this library file.
Okay.
Okay. Generally speaking, they have missed it. Yeah. You need to get it reinstalled even for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Can you let Basu know about that?
Just
Because
give me the control once. Just give me the control once.
Yeah, sure. How do I?
Yesterday you gave me, right? Give the keyboard and mouse settings to the to me. Okay.
Which one is you? So you have control now?
I was not able to see your screen itself. I lost your screen actually. Can you share the screen once again?
Okay.
On the left hand side, in the above icons, right, you will be able to see one television symbol. Just click on the television symbol so that it becomes green. That means you are sharing the screen with me.
Okay. That's green now. I
Yeah, I
think
was able
it's...
to see. Yeah, I was able to see now.
And you have the control as well, right?
Yes, I think so. No control. Can you once again share the control?
Okay.
Even for lookup also, then you will get the same kind of error. Row generator haven't come.
No, it's too slow.
VMware is slow.
Yeah, it's damn slow.
So I think it's yours is 8 GB machine, right?
Yeah.
For 8 GB, if it is slow, I think it's better to get the software directly installed on your system.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know. Let me try check with those people.
Yeah, you just get it installed. Why? Because it is too slow actually.
Mm-hmm.
How can you practice on daily basis if it is?
This is damn slow. I need a lot of patience to do this.
Eventually you will get what you say, I don't want this data stage itself. No, in real world it won't
Exactly.
be this much slow. Not doing anything here, just wanted to put one column. You have done it, but I just wanted to do for my satisfaction. That's it. Okay, done it. No more transactions, nothing, only from our end, everything is fine. Anyway, it will not create any folder file there. Just wanted to compile it. Okay, fine. I just wanted to compile this thing. Yes. Compilation in progress. Yours, you need to get it once again installed, but this time while getting installed, ask them if they can do it directly on your system. For you, lookup won't work, transformer won't work. Okay.
Okay. I'll check with them.
So yeah, try to get it installed directly on your machine. It would be much faster.
Okay.
Anyway, Nita, so we will continue tomorrow. I will inform you through Basu. Like if tomorrow class is there, right? I will inform through him. Fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Nita. Bye.